This carburetor is a Walbro WT-275. So let's start to rebuild this carburetor. Start to remove the metering diaphragm. So that's a metering diaphragm. It's very stiff already, it's hardened, so you can hear that. So that means this one needs a replacement, and also the metering gasket. Now the fuel pump diaphragm. That's the fuel pump diaphragm, which is also hardened. We needs replacement. And obviously we also need to replace the fuel pump gasket. So here we need to remove the mesh for the screen. We also need to remove the metering lever. So when removing the metering lever, you need to hold the metering lever because there's a spring in the back, so to avoid losing that spring. So that's our metering lever with the pin, and that's a metering spring and the needle valve. So this part here is the check valve for the jet. Also we need to remove the mixer screws, one for the low, which is the smaller size thread, and one for the high. With the larger size thread. So not to worry about the setting. I will show you when we assemble the carburetor how many turns to set the mixer screws. Okay, so let's clean this one. I'll use the shellac to clean the parts. So try not to use a steel brush when cleaning this side here, and make sure that it's as scratch free as possible. Most diaphragm carburetor has check valve, so the check valve allows fuel to pass through the main jet, but it doesn't comes back. Okay, let's check the check valve. When spraying carb cleaner here, you will see the carb will go through the jet, and it doesn't comes back through the check valve. So when you spray from the check valve, you should see the carb cleaner coming out on the high, if not into the main jet. So if you block this one here, you will see that it goes through directly through the main jet. So when checking the low, you will see these very tiny holes here. So when you apply, inject through the low jet, you will see through that tiny holes. So this carburetor is good. Then I will clean the rest of the parts. So using a teeth strainer, I can place some of the small parts inside, excluding the spring and the mesh. Now let's clean the spring and the mesh. Now it's time to assemble the carburetor. Now we install the parts. I'm going to install the mesh. So you can use a dual bit to push the mesh inside. If you're experienced, you can just use any or a tweezer to push the mesh. Okay. Then we can install the needle bulb. You can use the old needle bulb or replace with a new one. But before, it's a good practice to clean the seat first with the peg. Okay. Then we can place the needle bulb. So I'll grab the metering lever and pin. Place the spring. So I'll hook the needle valve and gradually lower the metering lever into the spring seat. So make sure that the spring is sitting properly at the back of the metering lever. So once it's seated properly, I can place the secure with the screw. Okay. Using a metering gauge. So this is WT, so I have to use where the WT, one on the middle. So to line up this one, make sure that this part here is just touching the middle part, which is a little bit lower. So I need to wedge this one up to increase the height. Yeah, just perfect. So I can install the mixer screw, the smaller screw. That's for the low. And one for the high. So just tighten the screw all the way in until it stops. And rotate counterclockwise 1.5 turns. 1 and 1/2. And for the high, 1 and 1/2. So this is our initial setting for the engine to start. Then once the engine starts, you can adjust this one to tune the engine. Now we have this carburetor kit. So this is the metering diaphragm, that's the metering gasket, this is a fuel pump diaphragm, and that's the fuel pump gasket. So we'll see. And what we have here is we have a metering diaphragm, and we have the metering gasket. We have the fuel pump diaphragm and the fuel pump gasket. So it's a different material, but it works the same way. So first is we need to place the metering gasket first, then the metering diaphragm with these round parts facing downwards, then the cover, now for the fuel pump side, we place the parts in this side instead of the other side. Is the fuel pump gasket, then the fuel pump diaphragm. So to place this one, just put this one upside down while pushing this lever, because it will hit on this part here. Okay. So that's all good.